And while you were talking, you shared there's two kinds of pain in the world. There's the kind that sort of comes out of our own sin and that we bring on ourselves, our disobedience, our pride. And then there's sort of the other kind of pain, the one that just sort of happens to us. And this is Bowen. The pain that you and your wife and your family have had to endure as a result of his life coming into this world the way that it did, with half a heart. I want you to just share some about that, if you could, and tell us how it's really affected your lives.
Yeah, well, the first, period of time that was really hard for us was the wait. The wait between April 12th when we found out, and they told us that, he may or may not make it even till birth. To hear that, for the next several months, we're just going to kind of have to just learn to trust. And that's such a easy thing to say, but really it's a hard thing to do. And so every single day really just felt like a lesson in trust for us, just leading up to September 9th when he was born. And then a few days later, he went into the operating room to get his heart operated on for the first time. And that was another shorter but probably much more intense wait, just to find out whether or not he was going to be okay. And, God saw him through all that. He saw him through a cardiac arrest and life support and all kinds of things that we watched our son endure. And during those times, I think my wife and I both just really learned how to trust and cling to the Lord with all of our hearts. And one of the greatest things that we really embrace is just God's sovereignty, the fact that he's in control. He allows us and, permits us to walk through pain so that he can show us our purpose in him, which is really just to glorify him with our lives and realize that he is the thing that can bring us the most happiness and security in our lives. We chase so many things our entire lives for happiness, and as he burns away the things that we put in place of him, we can really see that he's the only thing that we should really put our true hope in. And that's really, I guess, in a nutshell, the work that God's done in our lives over the past few months.
That's right. It's something else that you had talked about was we have our expectations on one end of the spectrum and we have our reality on the other. And the space in between those two it's that disappointment. And without God filling that space, we won't ever have that satisfaction and find that purpose. Instead, we'll live in despair and perpetual disappointment with life.
Yeah. My wife and I heard that analogy at a marriage conference. We've loved it ever since. And yeah, you're right. We place our expectations on anything other than God. We live in constant disappointment. But the great thing about it that I've learned is that God really He's created us to be disappointed in this life, and it's really in a strange way, it's really this beautiful thing. We learn to be disappointed and let down, and then we realize just how incredible He really is, and how incredible our hope is that we have in Him. We start to see it more clearly and embrace it more clearly. And that was just really that morning was my word to those people at that church, and my word to anybody is that this life will disappoint you. It'll let you down. People and possessions and dreams that we make in this life never go the way that we plan. But man, all of our hope, all of our true hope is in a future with God through Christ, and when we can really put our expectations there, like you're saying,
that's the eternal. That's the eternal perspective that we talk about. That's really where that lies. Is in that space.
And then we're not shattered when things don't work out in this life.
Yeah. We're talking with Matt Hammitt, lead singer for Sanctus Real, perhaps the hottest Christian rock band in the world today. You can join the conversation. You have a question or comment for Matt, 866-423-9578. Matt, how is Bowen doing today?
He's doing great. We went from just a few weeks ago from him just not being able to keep any food down and not sleeping at all. I mean, it was just a real trial for us. And then in just a few weeks, God really answered some of our prayers, and we were able to make some changes with his treatments and stuff. And he's just doing incredible. He seems really, we still have to wake up, through the nights and give him medication. And it requires a lot of extra care and attention to take care of him, but he's just doing wonderful. And, now we're just kind of trying to gear up and trust again as we come up on his second surgery, March 2nd.
Now, what most people don't realize, when you are born with this particular congenital heart defect, the name of which is hypoplastic left heart syndrome, one of my best friends has a son born with this, so I know a little bit about it, maybe more than the average person. But what people don't know is that there's a three-step surgery process. So the first surgery he had just a few days after he was born. Then the next surgery comes at 6 months, I believe, and then the third surgery will happen when Bowen is 2. Is that accurate?
That's right. Yeah. So, are you talking about Tommy that you know?
Yes, Tommy Shoemaker. Yeah. That's right.
We love Tommy. I think Colleen texted me during the break and said, "I'm listening." So
that's great.
I want to say hi to him. I know they're listening.
Oh, that's so nice.
Tommy's been an inspiration, man. I tell you, just
he has, and one of your phrases.
Not just the 3 surgeries, but also pulled through the transplant, which is amazing.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and we are actually on our show on this Saturday. Colleen Shoemaker will be on our show talking about, and it's a phrase that I think you coined that we love, turning pain into purpose. Mm-hmm. And it's just a great turn of phrase and sentiment, and it's something that the Shoemakers certainly have done with their organization, Hearts of Hope. And we're going to be talking about that, people who have already walked through that experience and who are now reaching back to try and help others like your family.
Well, and there's also something else that you're doing, Matt, and that is you're beginning your own foundation.
Yeah, we're in the process of just kind of getting it started. And so, our goal is to be blessing families and working with people by the spring to help some families out, and I think that it looks like we'll be on track. So sometime this spring we'll be launching it, and really looking forward to that.
And speaking of the spring, you actually are going to be visiting us here in Michigan playing some music, yes?
Yeah. We got some different tour dates coming together, some of which are in Michigan. So
I think I have Midland, Michigan on March
19th.
March 19th, Monroe, Michigan, March 20th, and then you're going to you're playing the big Breslin Center?
Yeah, Michigan State,
on May
my alma mater.
1st? Yeah. That's fantastic.
No, that's not on May 1st. That's on April 29th.
April 29th? Did I get that date wrong?
Yeah, that's April 29th in East Lansing, and I'm going to be there. And I'm bringing the kids. We're coming.
Oh, that's great.
Heck yeah. We'll get the Shoemakers out there, too.
Oh, yeah, that would be sweet.
We would encourage everybody. We haven't seen you live yet, but your music fills our lives completely. And I think we're going to get another taste of your music before we sign off here. What song, G, are we going to listen to?
It's called Redeemer, right, Matt?
Oh, great one.
Is it The Redeemer or Redeemer?
Yeah, this is Redeemer, and it's so funny. He said, "Is it The Redeemer?" I'm trying to think. Wait, did we call it The Redeemer? Or
I think it says that on the album. I think it says The Redeemer on the album.
I think it's The Redeemer on the album. We always abbreviate our songs or make them set lists. This is one of those songs that just the bridge of this song, especially, man, just it's about, I don't have every answer in life, but I'm trusting you one day at a time.
Yeah.
This is how a weak heart stayed alive forever. And, man, like I said, I didn't even know when I wrote those lyrics what we'd be going through. And so, man, just another way that God's saying, I'm here, I'm in control.
Well, we want to mention your websites. The first one, which is just for your band, it's just www.sanctusreal.com. And then the one that has, this one has captured my own heart, and it's bowensheart.com. It's the story of Bowen. You help educate people about HLHS. You can connect to your Sanctus Real website from Bowen's Heart. And
Matt, don't you have something like 11 million followers or something?
There's been millions and millions of people, to visit Bowen's Heart, and lots of subscribers. It's been really amazing what God's done.
Yes. Well, we are going to, Matt, we want to thank you so much for taking time out on a snowy day, and I hope your snow shoveling for the day is done. Our very best to your family, and as we go out to our break, we're going to be listening to The Redeemer by Sanctus Real. Matt Hammitt, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. God
bless
you. Talk to you soon.
Bye
Blessings.
now.